Top 5 Fortnite locations only OGs remember? Only 90s kids remember? Whoa! But do you remember? Pepperidge Farm does. I don't know about that other farm in Fortnite though. Yeah, that one other farm got removed. Such as Fortnite. But my question is, how many of you guys remember the factories before they were the factories, the original Tilted Towers? Yeah, I know. It was a while ago, so not too many people remember it. Welcome back to Use Code T5G, where today we will be Top 5 Gaming. Join the Discord, the link is in the description, and let's get this party started. Huge thanks to Mood for sponsoring the official Fortnite ranking series. Their app lets you meet and squad up with people on all types of games, or just find lounges where people can hang out and talk about games they all love. Want to find some friends to squad up with, or just learn more about Fortnite updates? How about you join our open lobbies? Click the link below to sign up to Mood. Thanks to Mood for making this series possible, but with that said, let's get into it. In at the number 5 spot, we've got the Dusty Depot Factories. The Dusty Depot Factory, also known as the OG Factories, was an unnamed point of interest between Dusty Depot and Salty Springs. The location was there from Season 1 onwards, and was quite a popular place to land for easy loot and chest spawns. A lot of players remember this location specifically, with many citing it as the first ever location they landed at in Fortnite. It was an extremely beloved area and holds a place in many players' hearts. The POI helmed 3 main factory buildings with lots of loot in each one. It was a great place for squads to get equal amounts of gear and come out with a ton of loot between them all. There were many reasons as to why so many players landed here originally, and many remember it as one of the best locations to ever exist in the game. There were chances to get a huge amount of brick materials, the buildings had great floor loot scattered around evenly, and there were lots of spaces for cover and shooting enemies through windows. Unluckily, the OG factories had a huge meteor land on them when Season 4 began, destroying all traces of the area. It was just a fantastic location that only real Fortnite OGs will remember, and I'll forever want the factories to return in the future. Would you like to see it come back to Fortnite, or would it ruin the nostalgia? Let us know. But in at number 4, we've got the prison. The prison was an unnamed location which only OGs will vividly remember, which was in the game in the very first version of the Fortnite map that existed when the Battle Royale mode for the game released in September 2017. You can find the prison in the bottom right corner of the map, just northwest of Moisty Mire. The location featured 3 main buildings, with 2 of them completely filled with prison cells. Pretty much what you'd expect from a prison location, right? Well, this unnamed location actually had quite a few tricks up its sleeve, with plenty of loot for players to collect when they dropped there. Originally in the earlier seasons of the game, the prison became a pretty popular place to land, as popular as it gets when compared to Tilted Towers and Pleasant Park at least. A frequent strategy with players that dropped here was to watch the area from one of the nearby guard towers. There were 4 watchtowers on each corner of the prison's complex, with chest spawn locations in every one of them. These watchtowers were home to a lot of campers in the early game who would either snipe or watch people in surrounding areas. In the location, there were up to 8 chest spawns, quite a lot for such a small and compact unnamed area of the map, with pretty average loot. Nothing too special, as it wasn't a main location, therefore not as large or dense in loot and size. Unfortunately, however, with Season 4's debut, the prison was demolished and left in pieces when a piece of meteor struck the area. It was completely replaced with Paradise Palms in Season 5, and has not shown any sign of returning to the Fortnite map since. It was a pretty good location to land at if you ran out of ideas on where to drop and had to wing it in the early game. Now, I'm pretty sad that it's gone, because it was a pretty fun drop point with plenty of hiding spots for you to sneak up on other players. I had my fair share of jump scares from people in that place, but in at number 3, we've got Greasy Grove. Greasy Grove was a point of interest from the very beginning, and the latest named location on the list to be removed from the game. In Season 1, Greasy Grove could be found southwest of the map, to the left of Shifty Shafts, and to the right of what is now known as the Viking Village. The location was essentially a tiny mix between Retail Row and Pleasant Park, mixing residential houses with a Der Burger location, a large store, and a gas station. The entire area had 8 buildings, with the Der Burger being the largest by far. The Der Burger store had 3 floors, including a small basement with a chest spawn. Inside this building were lots and lots of ammo crates, which were great for challenges which involved opening ammo boxes in a single match. As time passed between each season, Greasy Grove became more and more of a popular spot to land at. Unfortunately, however, each season also kept changing location a bit until it eventually perished. Then in Season 4, the rifts appearing around the map stole the giant Der Burger sign from the top of the restaurant, and this was only the beginning. When Season 6 came around, a Pizza Pit truck appeared in the area. The story goes that Pizza Pit, Der Burger's rival, actually traveled around the map in their truck before sabotaging the restaurant. Shortly after, during the 6th week of the season, the Der Burger restaurant was closed down permanently. Tape and barricades covered the windows and actually made the place look lonely, as all the chairs were turned over and some lights were off. A Durr Burger food truck then showed up next to the Pizza Pit truck before they both moved to the football stadium west of Tilted Towers. Unfortunately, however, Greasy Grove was encased in ice at the beginning of Season 7 when Polar Peaks iceberg came and froze up the flood created by the Viking Village waterfall. Since then, it was removed from the map and only one building is fully enterable, the large outdoor store. Durr Burger and Pizza Pit are still driving around the map in their trucks to this very day and inspired the Food Fight LTM. But in at number 2, we've got Moisty Mire. Holy moly, do I miss this place. Moisty Mire, like the other entries on this list, was on Fortnite Battle Royale's island since day one. Located in close proximity to the prison in the southeast corner of the map, Moisty Mire was one of the largest POIs on the entire island. As is obvious by the name, Moisty was an extremely large mire. Well, what even is a mire? Well, it's basically just this swampy area, kind of like where Shrek lives, but the largest tree in the center of Moisty can spawn up to 4 chests underneath it, with 3 other chest spawns located around the area, such as in the treehouse and one of the small islands. During Season 2, the area was made even darker so it appeared even more swamp-like, until Season 4, and until Season 4, there wasn't much to Moisty. It was pretty much Wailing Woods. Rest in peace, by the way. But without the cool laboratory underneath it. However, in Season 4, the location was converted into a large movie set filled with green screens, filming equipment, props, sets, and more for a superhero movie. With this conversion, more chest spawns were added. The best thing about Moisty Mire was how underrated of a landing spot it actually was. I find it hard to remember any times where I dropped there and lots of players were also there. It was also very isolated when combined with the floor loot and chest spawns, a great play, and it was pretty much all yours for the taking. Very bountiful, and not only that, but if you wanted to max out your wood count in the very early game, the place was super bountiful and stacked with trees upon trees to mine. The worst part about loving the location is seeing it go, and that's exactly what happened when Season 5 came along. Sadly, Moisty Mire was obliterated by the release of Paradise Palms and the desert biome, and while I do love these new locations, we'll still miss you, Moisty. And as for the honorable mention number 1 is the original racetrack. The original racetrack in Fortnite was located directly south of Lonely Lodge, exactly where the new Paradise Palms racetrack can be found. It was pretty much the same as the one we have now, except it was a dirt track and was filled with shopping carts. It seemed that vehicles being added to Fortnite Battle Royale was the plan from the very beginning. As the dirt track was in the map from day one, it was a weird location to have since there were no vehicles actually added into the game until the shopping carts made their grand appearance during Season 4. Also during Season 4, a meteor struck extremely close to this original dirt track and left a very large crater. The original racetrack had a single residential house as the only building and therefore didn't have much going on for it, not to mention the building was very close to being destroyed by that meteor fragment I just mentioned. There was at least some decent floor loot around the viewing areas of the track, but only really 1 or 2 chest spawns. However, this location is quite old and forgettable, therefore only true Fortnite OGs would remember it. And for honorable mention number 2, we've got the shipping containers. The shipping containers were one of the only untouched, unnamed OG locations left up until Season 8, as most of the original unnamed POIs had either been removed or somewhat changed. The Yard of Containers had quite a few chest spawn locations and had a decent amount of floor loot, enough to get you started in that early game at least. It was located southeast of Tomato Temple and just above Retail Row on the map. Another name for the shipping yard among some players was Con-X, which was inspired by a type of shipping container that was originally developed by the United States military during the Korean War. Interesting stuff, but it's hard to pinpoint how much this location was actually useful, as it's considered both a waste of time and also an underrated spot with great loot by a mixed bag of Fortnite players. As is the case with every entry on this list, obviously the shipment yard was eventually removed from the game. In this case, it fell to the Season 8 volcano, and in at number 1, we've got Dusty Depot. The number 1 Fortnite location on the list that only true OGs will remember is Dusty Depot. This was located in the very center of the map and technically still exists to this day, but under a new name and only a fraction of the drop zone it used to be. You see, the POI was originally added to the Fortnite map on day 1, but as an unnamed location until it became one of the few iconic spots at the time. Therefore, it was named Dusty Depot in an update that also gave a name to Tomato Town and Salty Springs. Dusty Depot consisted of 3 main warehouses lined up parallel to one another, the first being a blue color followed by a gray warehouse and a red warehouse. They were the exact same shape, height, and had pretty similar interiors. The original location actually ended up being very popular with fans, as it was often an area where a lot of battles would happen, this being because players from almost every named area on the map would eventually circle in on Dusty Depot, and this made landing there in the early game beneficial, as you could proceed to any surrounding area. You had a choice of running to Salty Springs, Tilted Towers, Tomato Town, Loot Lake, and Retail Row with roughly equal distances. Not only that, but because this area was advanced upon so often, it really does set the tone for some nostalgia in OG heads when thinking about the location. I mean, I dropped there so many times times in the very early and I do indeed get some nostalgia just thinking about the looting. The warehouses provided amazing cover for anyone who wanted to camp and wait until the later game, as the circle would almost always advance near the depot. According to a major Season 4 leak posted prior to its release, Epic Games believed that the depot needed an update as it was quite a bland part of the map. This leak ended up being correct when the meteor created an absolutely gigantic crater in the ground, destroying half of the depot and turning it into Dusty Divot, the location you see in the game right now. Not only was that leak correct, but the former Epic Games QA tester that allegedly leaked the meteor strike was sued by Epic Games last year for breaching a non-disclosure agreement. The death of Dusty Depot didn't affect anything as much as that guy's wallet. And if you remember this spot like it was yesterday, then let us know what your favorite part about landing here was. But that has been our list of the top 5 Fortnite locations that only OGs remember. Be sure to click that like button if you've enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new, push notifications on, use code T5G in the item shop, join the Discord link in the description below, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.